My Creative Chronic Life, and today I am back with a colour along with me. I think this is the first one I'm actually filming in 2026. The other one's actually pre-recorded. So happy new year everybody. I hope you're all doing okay and have had a wonderful time off. I decided that I also wanted to take some time off too, but in reality it became a kind of busy period for me because I actually turned 40 this year. Sometimes I wonder where the time has gone. I had a lot of visits, phone calls, family time, that type of thing. So for me, the rest and recuperation that I thought I would have didn't actually happen, but it's fine. Family's family, we all get to have time with them, and it was really, really nice, and I felt so refreshed by it. I did get lots of gifts for my birthday. I got some colouring books, not Johanna Basford's, but different colouring books from my book club. I got some various other bits and pieces, and I thought I would try to do a different series with the colour along with me. So usually I do coloured pencils, which I will be doing today, but I got a book lovers colouring book, and I thought that maybe I would start to do like mark pens instead. I don't have the Arteza ones, I think it's a different brand, but I thought maybe I could start doing that. But in the meantime, I decided that I thought I would really like to start doing more in the Small Victories colouring book. I thought we could go ahead and do that together. So we did complete a couple of the series. We did I think it was What's on the Shelf we finished. Yeah, we actually finished this entire series, which looked good. I really did enjoy doing that. And I think today, rather than try and do something we've already done, let's pick something new. So I had an idea in mind. I think one of these would be great, wouldn't it? I think maybe this one or this one at the end. It will stick up, so what I'll do is I will just add my little birthday candle. Okay, so we'll be using the Castle Arts Botanical set. And let me see if that's all focused. I think that's good, isn't it? Yeah. It's actually quite a gloomy day today, so I've had to use the overhead lights. I think we'll do this one just because it's right at the end, and we'll start off with the rose pink in the 034. I'm going to keep it very simple and just do maybe one or two colours as a transition, or use the same pencil as darker and lighter, just because as when I start to get back into colouring, I think that I forget how to not do it, but you know, the way that some techniques are used, and the way I like to get back into it is probably just use one or two colours for the transitions, rather than trying to overly blend or pick too many and then I'll just be overwhelmed by it. At the end of the day, I think colouring is something that is super fun. I wish I had more time to do it kind of off screen. I only seem to be motivated for when I'm actually filming, which is fine. I did have a routine last year where I decided that I would do a little bit at bedtime, but for me now, reading is something that is more important at bedtime. I find that reading just an hour or so before bed, it really helps calm my mind down. There's only so many things we can actually put in as routine and habits. So I decided that I would prioritize and do reading because it helps me stay calm. And for colouring, sometimes depending on the time, especially at the end of the day, I end up getting quite stiff hands, and then it defeats the purpose if you go into bed kind of being in pain. So I'm hoping to continue with the colouring, but just when I'm filming, maybe a little bit at a time. I have been sharing a little bit more on TikTok, and I think many of you have enjoyed that. If you don't already know that I have my own website where I share everything related to my creative chronic life, be that colouring, be that reading, be that blog post, short stories, everything really. Recipes. I haven't actually posted a recipe in a while. Again, that's something that I kind of need to work on, is time management. But I find that when I'm trying to put too much on my plate, it overwhelms me, and then I kind of don't do anything else. So what I decided is I'll just do the corners, outer corners, to be a little bit lighter, and then the middle to be quite dark. And as you can see on camera, you can see the middle is quite dark. And you just go pick a circle, whatever length or amount you like, and that already looks, and then you go back over and just gently transition out, leaving the tips a lighter colour. And again, this doesn't matter if it's a little bit messy, if you miss a bit of the parts and you leave a little bit of white. I don't think it really matters, because overall, once you finish, that gives you the look that you desire anyway. And there we go, that's pretty simple. I'm going to continue with this rose pink and just do the other one in the exact same way. I did find that this year I didn't want to set as many goals. I didn't want to be somebody who was going to set goals and then just set myself up for failure. It's difficult when you're not feeling well and you've got lots going on and I'm waiting for surgery, and you try and set goals that are not really realistic or not even to the point where they're relevant now. So how can I fix goals that I'm, for example, physio is something that I should be doing daily, if not a couple of times a day, but with my health condition and my really large cyst, I'm not able to, because of the chances that it may rupture. So with that, it makes it difficult. So what I try to do instead is just to exercise as much as I can, i.e. movement, which is, being in a wheelchair makes it a little bit difficult than average, because a normal person could just get up and run and go for a walk, and for me that's something that isn't possible. So I have to figure out other ways, and for me to be able to physically get the energy out of me is usually creativeness, which feels the same as going to the gym, having a run, going swimming, that type of thing. And it's quite difficult to explain. So not on a normal day to day, if I don't get that physio in, or I don't get that movement in, or them stretches in, because of whatever health condition or whatever thing I'm struggling with at the time, it then means that I'm left up with this kind of pent up energy. So with that pent up energy, I then feel overwhelmed, and then I get tired, but also I know that I need to have an outlet. So usually for me, the outlet is some form of crafting. Doesn't matter what it is, it could be any sort of crafting, as long as there's crafting in there. It could be knitting, it could be, I don't sew anymore as often. My husband is really good at doing the things that I need doing, so I just let him carry on and do that. And as for myself, it's pretty much just knitting, colouring, planning, again cooking, not at all. It's been quite a long time. I think for now that's the three that we need to do, because they're pretty much the same. I mean, there's this one here, are they the same? Could that's got petals, could be. Yeah, okay, so we'll do this one as well. So some days are quite difficult to kind of stay focused, stick to the plan, have a goal, be able to stick to that goal. When life is so unpredictable, how can you have goals that are not realistic to what your day is like. For example, a couple of days ago, my husband had a hospital appointment, so of course we visited. The same evening, I was feeling very, very unwell. I think next I would like to do the Heather Purple 037, and was feeling very unwell, and I couldn't quite put my finger on as to what was the matter. I think we'll start with this here. I'll just go gently towards the ends. So that same night, I really felt quite unwell. I couldn't quite understand what was the matter, but I felt dizzy, I felt not like myself, and then the following day, I woke up to having a very upset stomach and a fever. So that meant what I had planned that day was to have breakfast at sunrise. Just something that me and my husband like to do, especially in the winter time, because the days are so short and we never really seem to get to see the sunrise, and instead I was holed up in bed pretty much all day. And to me, it just felt so overwhelming. So I took the day, which was yesterday, and then today I was like, you know what, whatever time I manage to surface to get out of bed, I will try my best to do something that is going to feel like I've accomplished something, especially as I've had a couple of days where I wasn't feeling so well. So on them days, how am I meant to do or stick to my goals when I can't because of feeling so unwell? I try to track, I try to do what I need to do, but it becomes so overwhelming because I'm feeling so horrible that I just kind of give up then. Okay, just as a little stop, we've got a few of the Heather Purples. I think I'll do another one here, and then we'll switch and change to a different colour. So again, I'm just doing the same thing, darker towards the middle, lighter towards the end. So this is why this year I decided that I'm going to not have many goals. I'm going to have targets that I would like to accomplish, targets that I would like to get to, but not necessarily goals that must happen, or at the end of that kind of quarter or term make me feel bad. So just as I know I'm really meant to be resting, recuperating, trying to be calm, lower blood pressure, all the good stuff. So to do that, I really need to do things that make me happy. So they are my targets and they are my goals, i.e. adult colouring really helps me. Okay, let's just switch the colour out. I think we will go for the Cadium Red in the 024. I do like this colour, it's very pretty. And I think we'll do these little ones, and I'm not going to bother with two tones or colouring, I'm just literally going to go over them all. So this is why I decided no goals, and this is how I'm going to think about it. Maybe once I'm feeling better and more able to, I can, but I learned a lot last year. By the end of the year, I had some things that I really accomplished and some things that I didn't. Some things were really blank in my life, and other things I had more of. Just for a simple example, I really hoped that I could get a couple of books read each month, and I didn't. When my husband got sick and got diagnosed with cancer at the beginning of the year, I couldn't read. There was something about delving into another story that could be happy or sad or whatnot, or just even about fantasy, that I couldn't do. I would try and read, I would try to listen to audiobooks. It didn't happen. So for a couple of months it was blank. But then after that, once we'd got home and we were settled, I was on a reading, I don't want to say a target, but I was on the road to reading. I actually surpassed my target. I had 25 books that I would have liked to have read. That was a gentle target. And then I actually accomplished, I think it was 43 in the end, or 44, something like that. And I was really, really proud of myself. But rather than looking at the accomplishments at that time. In hindsight, I of course understand that. Let me just switch a colour out. I think maybe we will go for the orange. Go for the KDM Orange 017. So rather than feel accomplished at it and be like, oh, you know what, I did a really good job, I really kind of was looking at, oh well, I've had a couple of months missing. And it wasn't from a perspective of sharing on social media or with friends. It was more about myself. And I was like, well, you know what, this is going to mean I'm going to have to do this and do this. And I was like, no. In the end, it took me about a week or so to decide that I should be so proud of myself for actually accomplishing well over my target. A target is a target, a goal is a goal, regardless of when you get to finish it. I know some goals have to have like a dead end limit, but majority of the time they really don't. It's something that we set by ourselves. So with that, I then realized, you know what, wow. So when I went to go set myself a /target goal, I decided $60. And $60 isn't something that I want to compete with myself. I want to read 60 books throughout the year if I can. If I can't, that's okay. And I will reevaluate that in the middle of the year. If I get to halfway, perfect, that means I might reach the goals. If I don't, then I'm going to reevaluate my target and kind of /goal and go back to basics and maybe go back to 20, maybe go back to 10, maybe go back to 1 book a month, something like that. And when I read, I don't read because others tell me to or because it's for myself. It helps me be calm, helps me relax, it helps me be all the kind of feels and feelings that, you know, it really should be. We will switch to the Mauve 093. So then I decided when I was actually going to set up the goals was that I think that I should really start looking at the goals and the aspect of goals in a completely different way. I shouldn't really at all think of myself as, oh, well, I haven't accomplished something. Oh, I only did this. I do so many things in a day that I am so proud of. I have a tendency to compare myself to pre-Paulie, i.e. the person who I used to be, which was able-bodied, movement, not who I am now, not restricted, not sick. My life changed a good many years ago. So with all of that being said, I seem to compare myself a lot to that, and I decided that I'm no longer going to. I get up every day and I push and I move and I do so much in a day that I wasn't probably able to do even a year ago. And with that is so much difference mentally. And no, therapy has helped me a lot, but mentally being able to focus on recognizing that everything you do in a day is an accomplishment. Be that getting ready in the day, be that doing chores, be that eating your meals, be that carb counting, taking your diabetic medication, taking any medication at all. There's so many reasons for me not to want to do it or not to do it or procrastinate about it, but instead looking at it in the long run, I've done so well within all of that myself. Being part of YouTube, for example, sharing with others, building a community, something that being at home alone is very difficult. Obviously I've got my partner, I love him, he loves me, we care for each other, but some days it's just so difficult to not have that conversation. We'll use Oxide of Chrome 063. Have that conversation with other people who are like-minded like you, i.e. enjoy the same crafts as you. You know, we have other things in common, me and my husband, but generally when it comes to crafting and things like that, he's not a crafty person. So I don't have very many people to talk to, but building a community where if I was stuck and I needed some recommendations for colouring books, I could pop online and within 10 minutes I would have an answer. I can message friends and they can message me. We built this community where we can talk to each other, and it's such a blessing. And I've created that and I've built that from having nobody, i.e. outside of my family and kind of friends, to having people who actually understand me and value me, even though it's through the internet. I've made some great friends. That is all been something that I've pushed for. I shared, I was vulnerable. I have done so much in my life to be able to make that happen, and that's something to be proud of. So I've gone off on a tangent here now, haven't I? So going back to goals, this is what I meant by goals, is that I rather look at all the negative, I'm going to look at the positive, which is why in my videos you'll see that I'm tracking a lot. Tracking for me is to look back on, to prove to myself that I am valued more as a person to myself, and I shouldn't judge myself harshly or judge myself by my past self, because who I was 7 years ago, before what happened to me, I genuinely feel like that I'm never ever going to be that person again. That person has gone. So we will use the Cadium Yellow in the 007. So this is what I was saying, that I decided that I will track to be able to look back and be able to see for myself how much I've accomplished, what I've got done, and realistically how I should stop comparing myself to the old me. This is the new me now. I've turned 40 this year, and I'm going to have different dreams, hopes, aspirations, and also I'm going to be kinder to myself. So I hope that me sharing this has maybe changed your mindset a little bit to also be kinder to yourself, and in a way, if you can, would be to just, when you're setting your goals and targets, to just be really realistic with yourself and maybe focus on the first quarter or the first week or the first month, rather than think long term for 12 months, because sometimes it's just not feasible. Nobody knows what's going to happen in a month's time, let alone in 12 months time. So set yourself smaller goals, smaller targets, smaller increments of things, and if you get them done, a big pat on the back, and if you don't, also a big pat on the back, because you tried. Trying what really matters. And I hope that I have shared this with you today and been a little bit more vulnerable, so that then maybe even one person making a difference to this mindset, and if you're in a similar position to me or not, it doesn't matter, you can be kinder to yourself. Well, this is the end of our colour along with me. Husband's home now, so we're back to normality. Had a couple of minutes of a little bit of peace and quiet, and now he's home. We're probably going to be around back to sign out dinner and the normal routine. So it's not often that I do get to have a deep, in-depth thoughts and share some personal bits, but I thought this year's a new year, why not? Hope you enjoyed this colour along with me. I love how it turned out, just by using a couple of different colours, but also one colour on the same flower, and you can see how it's made the light and dark of a petal instantly. So if you are wondering if you should be doing some colouring and you want come across this video, definitely do, because it's not as hard as it looks. And if you're wanting to learn techniques, this is just one of them simple, easy techniques that you can do and follow along. If there's a specific colouring book that you have pretty much majority of the Johanna Basford's ones, and if you have a specific flower or motif that you want colouring in and you're just not sure, reach out, leave me a comment, let me know, and I will go ahead and film that, and we can do that together then, can't we? Well, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.